Hey everybody, Sim here for episode 2. Um, you may notice a few things have changed. For instance, I've got an enchanting table now, holes dug here, and I've got a hole down to bedrock, which if we take a shortcut, you can see I've done a decent bit of mining. Found a few more diamonds, but mostly standard ores with lapis and all that. I have a Fortune 2 pick, looting 2 rapier, so really nice. Have been messing with the enchanting table. So all of my armor, all of my mage armor, which is the second rank mage armor, has enchants, and quite a few of them. I actually think that the enchants are a bit cheaper than they are on vanilla, because you can actually upgrade the enchants that you have on the items, because it gives you a little slider bar that you move back and forth, which I can show you here. In fact, let's upgrade the unbreaking on our helmets here. See, and you just drag the sliding bar here, tells you how much it costs, hit enchant, and there you go. Got protection 4, unbreaking 3, magic resist 2 on a helmet. That already gives water breathing, so it's really nice. Some of the things I had planned today is a little more with Tinker's Construct. I went ahead and dug out a small area that we're going to use for smithing. So we're going to combine the metals in here using some stuff I got going. It's a seared brick. You make it with gravel, sand, and clay. It gets you 2 gravel or 2 grout per, and then you smelt the grout to get seared brick. Now, I did this with a little bit of vanilla automation, which these are the vanilla hoppers. I've got actually a couple spares in my building chest. Pretty simple to make, just like the Buildcraft hopper, but without a gear. So you put the ores in the chest up here, it evenly distributes them to the 2 furnaces, and each has a reservoir of coal it draws from, and then the hopper extracts it and puts it into the chest down there. So it's just a simple way to do automation with vanilla. Now, you have to make several different kinds of bricks, or blocks rather, with these seared bricks. And the first one you make is there it is. Gives you the smithing guide. Gives you the introduction, the different blocks you make, all here, and gives you the number you would need for a minimum size smeltery, which is this right here. Tells you how to make the stuff, the different alloys you can make, which we're going to be making some of this in a bit. I did go to the nether. We have a really great nether spawn I'll show you here in a minute. And this is all the crafting recipes for the different blocks. We're going to need a controller, a drain. We've already got quite a few bricks. And we're going to get some seared glass, lava tanks, seared faucet. We don't really need a casting basin, but we will need a casting table. I'm not actually sure what the casting basin does, but that's what we're going to do to get started. So let's go ahead and make some of these things. And I actually have some glass in here. Something cool to do is that if you bring up the recipe here, you can shift click the question mark and it automatically puts the stuff in there. So we're going to get a good bit of this here. We'll need one of these. And we'll need a lava tank. Simple enough. In fact, let's get a couple of those, because you can have multiple tanks in there and the smelter will draw off of all the tanks that you have available. Now to start this out, it's real simple. It's the base is a 3x3. Then these edges don't actually matter, so you can have them be whatever you want. These you can probably see through the lava tank, so I'm going to go ahead and make seared brick. And you have to build up the walls. Now the higher you have it, the more ore you can smelt at a time. So it's always a good thing to have higher walls. And on the front, you need a controller. You're going to need a drain, which this side is the out face. This is the input from on this side. And what happens is you're able to put the seared faucet here with a casting table right below it, and you pour from it just by right clicking. So let's finish this building up a bit. Now as soon as you place that, you notice the controller kicks on. That's because this is the minimum size, the 1 block tall. But let's make it a little better, shall we? Now these seared glass can actually act as a tank, and it holds about 4 buckets. So if you want to, you can just take buckets and fill it. And I'll show you that here in a bit. But that should be what we need. So you notice there's a whole bunch of stuff here. But let me go ahead and grab some lava. In fact, I think I'll do that from the nether, but we're going to have to make some cans first. But it doesn't seem we have any aluminum or tin worked up here, so let's find some tin. Just toss it in here and you can actually see the process here. It's almost immediate. Each one got 5, and as soon as it is finished, it'll pull it through and send it through the chest down here. Now the benefit of doing it this way is that you actually get full use of the coal. So say you have 7 iron and 1 copper that you need to do. 1 coal gets you 8 burns, or 8 materials. So, but that is a perfect amount. So like if it is without any delay. Now if you manually take it out, you're going to take time and it's going to run out before it can finish the 8th time. But this does it instantly, so you can actually get the full use of it. So it's a very handy thing to do. In fact, we're already done. So let's go ahead and take that and make ourselves some cans. Alright, now you'll get to see our nether spawn, which I think is really nice. Made a little hallway here for it. This is out of that ash stone, some cracked brick, just a nice little transition, some lighting. Okay, now I did make a little shield for it, and I've mined up a lot of the quartz that was around here with my handy dandy dig spell. And I also found a bunch of the world gem from Natura out here. So you see all this over here. And on the map we've actually got like 4 nether fortresses near us, which is really nice. So let's work our way down over there. Hope we don't get knocked off of our makeshift bridge. I really need to make that thing a bit safer. Now you notice these little clouds here. That's actually what I'm using for the current roof, just to kind of keep the spiders out, so to speak. Now with clouds, also added by nature, you can stand on the bottom block, and it actually slows your descent, and it's actually pretty cool. I can show you here. Notice I'm not falling. It's because I'm inside the cloud. It's pretty neat. This is actually what I'm planning to do for my house, is make a whole floating cloud city from the clouds up in Overworld. I think that will be really cool. And it seems cans don't currently trigger a block update. That's kind of interesting. Alright, now let's see about getting back home. Ooh, Hecates. I don't like these guys, so let's get rid of them. Now, that's something pretty interesting, is that the Hecates and the Nitro Creepers have moved into the Nether. So you won't see Nitro Creepers in the Overworld. And I haven't actually seen Hecates either. So that's something very cool that he did, or that both the mod developers have done. So let's go ahead and get back up top here. Now you'll notice it's probably pretty dangerous for me to do this under normal circumstances. However, with these boots, not only do I have feather falling, but there's actually a default ability with them once you get past the apprentice garments, that the boots give a feather falling effect. And it makes the boots take damage a little bit, and it goes on to a cooldown. It's a fairly short cooldown though, but it will save you from any fall damage periodically. So something very cool about this armor. Alright, now that we've got some lava, let's go ahead and fill our tanks. And you do that like you would with any other tank. You just right click it, holds 4 buckets, or 4 cans, and there you go. So you know it's got the lava indicator. So let's go ahead and get something to toss in there. But wait, what are we making? Good question. We are, as I mentioned, wanting to make the vanillium. I'm probably pronouncing that horribly wrong. But 2 cobalt, 2 iodite, which we definitely have. So I've got 11 there and 22 there. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Now, inside the smelter, it does not allow more than 1 block. So you can't have a stack of items in 1 slot. It's 1 item per slot. And it actually shows up right there, which is really cool. And you can actually see the progress here. Ooh, actually, I completely forgot a step. I am so sorry. If we had done this without this, we would have been not very happy. Let me tell you. For this, we need aluminum, not the gravel, and copper in a 3-to-1 ratio. Let's put this in here. Normally I make a bunch more of this stuff, but we don't have terribly much aluminum. I haven't been able to find much of it. But you can smelt either ores or bars, whatever you like, because this just melts it all down into a liquid. So why don't we go ahead and put the gravel through here, just because Now, something important about the smeltery is that it does in fact double your ores. So this is a good way to double your ore right off the bat without any machines or any special machines. Doesn't take long to melt aluminum, a little longer to melt copper. The harder the metal, obviously the longer it takes to melt, and the longer it takes to melt, the more lava it uses. So more lava tanks is definitely advantageous. Now let me show you the actual tank feature of this, which is really cool. Oops. Broke my infinite water source. There we go. And just like the buckets, you can place it in there. But unfortunately, if you pick it up, it's all gone. So, but you can do this with all the liquid metals. You can do it with the lava. Basically, any forged liquid you can do this with. Now, once all the metal is liquefied, you'll see this change color, which is really cool. And there it goes. Got it to a kind of a yellowish color. Now you right-click the drain, and it fills the smeltery table. Once it cools, we'll get a cast, a blank cast. Now we should get, I believe, 4 blank casts for this. So let's see here. There we go. No more casts. So you might be asking, what do you do with casts? Well, it's the same thing as blank patterns. Only now you're dealing with molten metal, so obviously wood's not going to cut it. For this, for now at least, we're just going to use an ingot cast, which means that anything that we get from here is going to be made into an ingot when we bring it out. And then the ingots can then be used up there. So that's all good. Now we're going to melt this stuff down. Okay. Now once all that melts down, which it will take a little bit of time here, let's go ahead and put up the rest of our stuff here. Notice I did go mining, so we do have a few more materials. About the same number of diamonds that we started with, except I've used several, obviously. But, yeah. Let's go ahead and toss these in the building materials. And this is our little, pretty much a junk chest for Tinker's construct here. In fact, I need probably a junk chest here for it as well. Looks like we're almost done. So I'm going to go make a chest real quick. Which I love the right-click feature that was added. Just makes all sorts of crafting just so much easier. Now you can automate the smelting or the smeltery to an extent, as far as taking out the liquids and turning it into ingots. However, you kind of get excess liquid whenever you use any kind of pipes from this. I'm not sure if it's on purpose or if it's a bug or what, but you will end up with extra, and then you kind of have to break the table and put it back down to be able to use a different kind of metal. So using the drain is probably... Oh, we got stuff melting. There's the cobalt. And alright, so we're doing pretty good here. Alright, now that it's purple, you know, the metals have combined. And it seems we're not using hardly any of the storage capacity of this thing, because this whole thing is considered a tank for the smeltery. But let's go ahead and get our ingots. And you just right click it to get it, and there you go. Now if you really wanted to, you could take this up and have that. And in fact, we're going to, we might as well make a pick here. Oh, did not mean to do that. So let's see. Get a tool binding as well. Okay. Binding. And we might as well get one for Bevolj as well. Now this does only draw what it needs from the smeltery, so you're never going to end up with excess. You won't get that half a chunk that you would from doing it up there. But I see no harm in getting half a chunk, you know. But this can be an easy way to automate certain functions of it. Now, this is going to take a while for me to get this done, so I'll get back to you once it's empty. Well, it actually didn't take near as long as I thought it would. Looks like we got enough for probably about 10 bars, give or take. So, let's make ourselves another pick. Let's see, what did we do with that slime crystal? There it is. So we got those there. Now here's how you can kind of plan out what kind of tool you want to make. I happen to know that the slime handle has one of the best handle multipliers of all, which means that it multiplies the durability of the item. So slime has 2.0. Now cobalt is 1.75, iodide is 2. Well, we could use vanillin, because it's a 2.5 handle modifier. Which that would actually probably be a good idea. Now, this is what we were using, bronze, for the head, which mining speed is 7, mining level redstone, gets you up to diamond. This is mining level 5, so much better, and much, much better mining speed. So let's see, its full durability is 3000. This tool has only 1200. So a full one of these would be beneficial. But that's not the only thing to consider. What you want to consider are the modifiers, which if you use paper as a modifier here, you can, say, make this the binding, which allows it to have one more modifier. So you'd have 4 modifiers available by default. Then you can use a gold block and a diamond to get a 5th, and you can use another star to get a 6th. So we can have not only the reinforced, the durability there, plus 500, we can have the haste from redstone, and we can have fortune from lapis, and if we wanted to, we could have this, the lava crystal, which is automatic smelting. So if I were to smack an iron block with it, it would smelt it. Or if I hit stone, it would smelt it to smooth stone. So it's very interesting. Though I tend to not use this. Now, we do have some other modifiers as well, which currently we have auto repair. But I would like to get an emerald because it gives you a 50% boost to your durability. So with a 3000 durability item, add 50%, that's pretty darn good. And of course, redstone auto repair is nice, then lapis. So those are the things that I'm thinking about making on here. So I think we will do a paper end on it. So let's make some more paper here. Now you have to do a paper stack, which is just 4 paper like that. You come over to your part builder, get your binding, and you do get the paper pack here, which you don't use. But we're going to use it. So there we go. Let's see. Alright, now let's build this sucker. So we go for pick, got the paper binding, the rod, and the head. So it's writable. Now it doesn't have unbreaking, but that's not a big deal. We can enchant it later. So we can give it an enchanting, or an enchant for unbreaking. So now if we really wanted the unbreaking, we'd have to sacrifice one of these, which that's sacrificing mining speed and sacrificing tons of durability, which isn't something we'd really want to do. So now, I can take this down here. If I had the levels, oh, well, it seems that doesn't like that. Let's try some redstone. Sometimes it just doesn't like things when you do it the wrong way. Now, you can use blocks of redstone to get it done quicker, which is what I'm doing. So it gives you 9 per block, and you can do 2 blocks at once. Or you can do 2 individual things of redstone at once. And it stacks up to 50. So you'll see here, 45. Mining speed of 12.6 is what we've currently got. Let me get a bit more redstone. And this gives us a mining speed of 13, which is really nice. Really, really nice. So let's see if we can enchant it now. No, we still can't enchant it. Let's try with some lapis. I'm not sure if this will work as I want it to, but it should. Now, lapis adds the luck, which is essentially a fortune enchant. I think the lowest amount of lapis to use is 10 to get some kind of fortune with it. That's really weird, because we can enchant the bronze right here, but it doesn't seem to want to enchant that. But that, to be honest, isn't that big a deal, because these here add the enchants. And we're going to eventually get an emerald, put it on there, and we'll have just that much more durability. So I'm going to go ahead and store this for Bevo, so we can use that later. I'm going to keep that on me because it's got a higher fortune. And let's clean up our inventory a bit here. Okay. Now the next thing I was wanting to do today was pretty much going to make some Ars Magic machines. One of the first ones we're going to make is the Essence Refiner. Requires a diamond, some arcane ash, and some obsidian. So we're going to have to go get some obsidian. I had used pretty much our entire stock making the enchanting table. But luckily, I found an area to get plenty of obsidian. Though we will need a bucket of water. Now, something you might not know about the Nether is that if you're using Buildcraft and you have oil, at least of 1.4.7, you could use oil in the Nether as water, in place of water. Because as you should know, you cannot use water in the Nether. But oil technically isn't water, but it does react the same. So it does turn lava to obsidian and running lava into cobble. If we go a little farther here, we'll get to my little offshoot, which leads up to pretty much a solid obsidian area. But, that is beautiful. Mine's so much quicker. And this is a real safe way to get your obsidian here. Oh, that is so quick. Remember, we don't need too much. I will get a couple extra pieces. But the flowing water under you reaches the lava before you do, so it turns it to obsidian so you don't ever come in contact with it, and your obsidian that you're mining doesn't get destroyed. It's very nice. Though I'm not in much danger anyway because of my gear. Now, I believe it's the pants of this that do it, but if I were to touch lava, it would either turn it to obsidian or cobble. I should be safe showing you this little feature here. Let's see. Oh dear. Well, that's not working as I planned, though the chest, I believe, is causing it to put out the fire, which means not in as much danger as normal. But it's possible that I need the master level gear to turn the lava, which now my gear is almost toast. It's a good thing I'm level 16 magic, because with this gear I could technically use the master level armor and still maintain my mana level. The higher level armor you get, the more mana it takes to repair, because it's the faster it's repairing, and just how much damage it has to repair. But this doesn't repair exactly quickly. So So let's see what we need here. So you need a diamond, wood. I've got the ash downstairs. So let's get a stack of wood here. Need a diamond. Get a couple of those just in case. There's the ash. And shift click. Got enough for 2. But we only need 1. Now this is a block that doesn't actually require any energy, so we don't have to use any of the energy that we've got stored up here. So we can actually put this, well, there's not many places to put it, but right there. Seems good. I use this to make all the different essences in the game, so we're going to need that to make the master armor. Because each piece of the master armor requires an essence, which this is supposed to be earth essence. This will be fixed before I make the armor. But then we have fire essence and air essence. Now, each of the higher tier armors requires something similar. So you'll notice this required coal, whereas this requires earth, and this requires pure essence. So pure essence is pretty much a combination of the different essences, but it basically utilizes the essence to neutralize an effect. So with the helmet requiring water essence, it makes it so you don't drown, essentially. Now, the other machine we're wanting to make here is a Kale Factor. Kale Factor is basically just a magical furnace, which I think I have more lapis downstairs that I was using for runes. Yeah, there we go. Good thing. I'm gonna have to go mining again. Darn near used all of our lapis. Some stone. And Ventium dust. Yeah, remember that Ventium ore from yesterday? That's this stuff. If you smelt it, you get Ventium dust, which can be then further refined to purified Ventium, but we don't need that yet. So now we should... Nope. Redstone. Oh, you can tell I'm not prepared. There we go. Kale Factor. Now this does require energy, so we're going to put it there. Now, if we come down here, you'll notice lightning bolts going up towards it. And it's actually siphoning a bit of energy, about 10 every second or so. And as I mentioned, this is just a magical furnace. So you can put your cobble here. It'll use the energy that's stored below to cook it. And you can actually use upgrades in the form of focuses. Now, you can increase its storage capacity and how fast it charges. And I believe these affect how quickly it smelts, though I'm not positive on that. And there you go. You get experience and everything just like you would from a normal furnace. It just doesn't require any coal. So you can smelt your cobble with cobble, essentially. So, let's toss some more fuel on the bonfire here. Now, some other cool things we're going to want to do is an arcane reconstructor. This little dealie repairs your items. So, I'm not sure if it'll repair these, but it'll repair other items, which you never know. It could actually come in handy. So, let's get a couple of these. I should actually be able to make that right off. There we go. And this little buddy requires a lot of energy, but something like this. Well, looks like it doesn't take those. But it'll repair that flint and steel for us. It didn't take much, because I'd only used it once. But basically uses the energy storage to repair your items. Now we do want to try to keep this above 10%, because when it's at 10% we get this nice little mana regen buff, and we don't really want to lose that. Now, let's see. There's really not much else that we can make that would be beneficial, but one of the things we can do is this magic fabricator. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with auto crafting tables from other mods. Well, this is something similar, and I'll actually show you what I'm talking about here. Oh, did not mean to drop it. For being rather cheap to make, it's actually pretty powerful. Now, the more expensive material you use, or that you're trying to craft, the more expensive it's going to be energy-wise. But say we're just trying to make a pair of boots. It's got to store up acquired energy, which it's going up pretty slowly. As you'll notice, this little thing's working overtime, powering the different devices, but it looks pretty good. As long as we're over 100,000, I believe 100,000 is 10%. But once it gets up to that, you can apply a redstone signal, and it will craft the item from energy and give you the item, and it won't use the materials in here. But until then, you can use this as just a standard crafting bench, so I could get a pair of boots there if I wanted to. Now you can upgrade this as well with the focuses. Same ones do the same effect, though I don't think these have an effect on it. But it is always good to have more charge. Obviously the higher charge, the rarer material you can use. But that about does it for the useful items that we have here. This here can be used for traps or protecting against mobs. This is a storage for energy in case you in case you overfill your Nexus. Sorry. In case you overfill your Nexus, you can make a battery and you can store the energy that way. As far as the rest of it, that's really about all that we've got as far as... Oh, I hear a door. Why do I hear a door? We have a friend. This is weird. I know I heard a door. Oh, that would be it. I think he might be trying to come in. Let's get him before he does. Oh yeah. Didn't stand a chance. But... Alright, well I'm going to do a little more mining, and then hopefully we can do some Thumbcraft stuff a bit later. So I'll see you in a bit. Well, actually guys, it looks like we're over a 30-minute mark here, so I think this would probably be a good place to go ahead and wrap up for the day. Gonna do some mining. May start recording again when Bevo comes back on for the night. But until then, take it easy, guys.